This is a pocket watch my mother picked up for me at a flea market in New Jersey. You can see it's a Hunter case, but the hinge is broken, so it's obviously not working. Now, I do have some pieces of copper that I did try to fix that. Didn't turn out because the sheets of copper just kind of kept getting wrinkled up. And as you can see, the hands seem to move in the setting position. This is a gold-filled watch, so it's not solid gold. If it was solid gold, she probably wouldn't even let me know that she had it. And I'm going to, while the movement's still in the case, I'm going to let down the main spring, which doesn't seem like there's any power in it, so I like to do that before I remove it from the case. Just makes it easier because you can grab onto the crown and let it down. Case screws, there's 2 of them. Somebody obviously replaced one at one point because they're 2 different screws. But I guess as long as it does the job, it's fine. The other one's not set in place, so I'm just going to leave that for later. You got to remove the front bezel on these because they are removed from the dial side. And as you can see down there by the hinge, the spring is missing. I did take that off in order to try to feed the brass through there. That'll go back. If I can fix it, it's going to go back. If I decide that it's way beyond my experience level or something that I can do myself, then it's going to go back and it's just going to stay in different pieces. So that would be unfortunate, but it's kind of one of those things that I don't say that I restore watches. I repair them. It's kind of like, I guess, a mechanic who looks at an engine and they're not matching. They're just looking at the engine, saying, "Okay, it's not working, and how do I fix it?" They aren't looking at restoring the entire car. And just flip it over. You got to pull the crown out to remove the movement, and it just wants to come out of place. Just loosen up the stud screw so I can take the balance out. Do that while the balance cock is still in place. The stud is loose and it's just kind of stuck between the pins there. The hairspring is. Gently kind of pry that thing out, so don't want to bend the hairspring. Hairspring looks okay, but there's a problem. Look at that. There is no pallet or roller jewel. And I don't know, it's not common, but it's not uncommon that I find some pocket watches in which the roller jewel has fallen out or is just missing. So obviously it's not going to engage with the pallet if there's no roller jewel in there. And I don't have any roller jewels. Unfortunately, I have, or pallet jewels. I have cap jewels, I have hole jewels, but no roller jewels. But fortunately, I did have a spare 610 movement, which this is a 610, Waltham 610 model 1899. 7 joules, approximately from 1905. So not a high grade, 16 size. Just clean off. There's a little bit of dirt in there and everything that I just put new cleaning fluid and rinse in my cleaning machine, and the last thing I want to do is introduce as much dirt as possible and screw it all up, because that stuff is expensive. It's not dirty enough that it gets a ultrasonic bath first, but still, it would, obviously it wouldn't hurt to do the, stick it in the ultrasonic, give it a pre-cleaning before it goes in the cleaning machine. And one of the dial screws is missing. It's supposed to have 3. As of right now, it only has 2. And it's got 3 dial feet, so 3 dial screws. And on some, I don't know if I have one that I need to work on or not. 18 size pocket watches, they'll have recessed dials. So there's little holes along the edge of the plate that you can use to push up the dial. Whereas in this case, you just kind of gotta pry it up. Dial's in really good shape, a little bit dirty, but I'll clean that up. It is an enamel dial, so it is easy to clean. You don't have to worry about, wiping off the numbers or anything like that. Yeah, it is a washer in the center of the ratchet wheel there. Now this screw right here is not reverse threaded, because the washer that you see there, that shiny thing right underneath the screw, that does not turn with the wheel. And there's another piece that's underneath that is stationary. So all that stays stationary. Now, I did come across in the early Swiss wristwatches, I'll find sometimes, and I just came across one recently, where the screw for the ratchet wheel is reverse threaded. So actually, both screws are reverse threaded, and one of the things, don't force. I mean, if you're just playing around with this stuff, don't force it, because I come across those things and somebody's obviously tried to unscrew the screw and they didn't realize it was reverse threaded, and they'll snap the screw head off, and then of course now you have the rest of the screw in the barrel arbor. And just don't force anything, just kind of go in one direction. If it doesn't want to go in the other direction. If it doesn't want to go, just kind of go back and forth gently before you end up snapping the screw head off and then just creating a whole bunch of problems. Because if you can't screw the ratchet wheel on, then you can't use the watch. Unless you can get that screw, the remainder of the screw out of the arbor, or replace the arbor, or do something else. But it's just be careful, is I guess what I'm saying. All right, here's the other case screw. Somebody's outside using a leaf blower and kind of hoping it's not getting picked up. Otherwise, people are going to be wondering what all that buzzing noise is. This did not want to come out. It's gonna look easy, but it's not. I had to struggle with it to get the damn thing out of there. And the same thing to go in, because it wanted to be pressed into place. And it comes off, and I'm just pulling on the wrong way. So you can see there's a crack in the center of the old acrylic crystal, and it's got some scuffs on it. And there's the new one, that's glass, that was in my assortment of crystals for pocket watches. And you got to be careful because it is a 100 case, so you got to make sure that you're not putting a thicker, crystal on it. And here I am using a automatic oiler for the balance cap jewels. Now it's out of the cleaning machine. Now it's time to put the thing back together. Yeah, it's got that little pin there that wants to come out. This looks like it's going to be easy to put that back in, but it wasn't. I actually had to put it into place and then flip it upside down to give it enough pressure to snap it into where it should be. And once I get all of the pivots lined up to where they should be, I gently put my finger down to make sure that when I put the screws in, the bridge does not shift and knock one of the wheels out of place. So I'm not pressing down, I'm just lightly, gently holding it into place. And once I get a couple screws in, I can take my finger off. But I kept my finger there, which is fine, not hurting anything. My movement holder is wobbling because I guess I'm bumping into the microscope. Even though I shouldn't be wobbling, even if I were bumping into the microscope. I just oiled something that wasn't necessary. So you can see on the barrel bridge that little screw right there. That's kind of where the that centerpiece that I said doesn't move when the watch is being wound. So you don't need to take that out. It really has no function other than to hold something into place. And there's on that piece right there, there's a little divot that just kind of fits into that screw, and then the washer, of course, goes on top. And again, that screw is not reversed threaded, so lefty loosey, righty tighty. And this little click here is a little bugger. As you can see, the click is under the ratchet wheel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the screw in, screw it down, not all the way, just so that it doesn't shift. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that click out from underneath it and then continue to screw it down. What I'm doing is I'm just gently with a piece of pegwood holding down that pallet bridge. It is a bridge because it has two screws. It goes from one side to the other, and not a pallet cock, which would have one screw. And I'm just holding it down with the pegwood, so again, the pallet fork does not shift while I'm screwing it down. Now it's time for the balance. Like I said, I just replaced the balance. And now it wants to go. You can give it a little jiggle every once in a while, make sure it's still in place. I don't need to snap the balance staff. Like I said, it seems to want to go now. I think it was, well, obviously the thing needed to be cleaned. Put some oil in there now. Let that soak through. I probably put a little bit too much oil in there. And I did oil the pivot holes on the main plate there, but I guess I didn't record it, or maybe edit them out. I don't know. Alright, now time to put the dial screws back into place, or screw in the screws to hold the dial. And I did clean up the dial while the rest of the movement was being cleaned. I said, there wasn't much dirt on it, but it was still not pretty. And if I'm going to put a new crystal on the thing, I might as well make the thing look all nice and shiny. And you don't, with the enamel dials, like I said before, you don't have to worry about wiping off the numbers or anything. They're in there. Line up the bezel. And this is glass, very, very thin glass, so I do not want to push down on the glass. And there it is. Just ticking away. Actually, it's behind me right now, so I can hear the thing tick, 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 because I just made this video yesterday. I just worked on the thing and edited the video. Now it's time to shoot my mouth off. So there's what it looks like. Of course, like I said, I would like to get the hinge fixed.